everybody, Richard again here from Electric Classic Cars, and on this week's episode we have a very special update on the Testarossa to Teslarossa conversion. Let's get into it. Now, at the end of the last update I gave you, we were far from finished, or it looked far from finished, but I knew in my head actually it's only a couple of weeks away because we were just on that last hurdle, last furlong if you like, of putting the final bits and pieces in. So, got a treat for you. Check this out. Ta-da! So, hopefully by the end of today, this shall be moving under the power of electrons for the very first time. So in the ye olde engine bay, we now have the main battery pack is in, and we've got the Tesla motor in. So here's the bolting cradle that bolts into the old engine mounts. And on any good handling supercar, it should be mid-engine, which means that the engine is forward of the axles. Now on the original Testarossa engine was a massive lump, quite high as well, but it was also sitting quite far out this way. And what we've done with the electric conversion is we've got all the weight in front of that rear axle, so it should handle a lot better. And while we're at the rear, we had a little bit of a quandary as to what to do with these massive gaping holes here where the exhausts came out. So our master fabricator, Tony, has come up with a solution. He's made these up, which are going to extend the slats to fill the void. And once they're powder coated and attached there, it'll look all lovely and factory, which is the way we like it. Right, now let's have a look at the front of the Ferrari and see if we can spot actually what we've done in here. So in the front here, we've got our front battery box underneath here, and it's the same height as the original spare wheel, which is obviously now gone. So everything fits, all the carpet, original carpet, just fits in here. The luggage space is exactly the same, apart from that black box over there, which is our 12-volt control systems and relays and fuses. So it's pretty stock in here. Now, this is probably the biggest difference from the last episode, because last episode this was just carnage, wires everywhere, it looked like a multicoloured spaghetti mess in here. And now it's absolutely 100%, actually 95% finished, because there's snagging yet to do. But dashboard's in, all the dials are in, we've got the shifter, so you got forward and then reverse, heater system's all in, air conditioning's in, it's just all ready to see if it's going to roll under the power of electrons. But before I do that, I just noticed power steering as well. That was an addition we decided upon, because when I drove this originally it was quite stiff on the front, and I thought if we could put in a bit more weight up front it's going to be even worse. So power steering upgrade was put on there, and it was already available. That means a lot of other people that have petrol Testarossas have already done that. But before we test to see if it actually rolls under the power of electrons, I'm curious to see how close we were to our estimates of weight distribution. So let's get out the scales.
Bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more.
Hang on.
A bit more, another inch or so, 2 inches. Bit more. Stop.
Right, well that proves one thing, it moves. But I'm not here for that, we're here for the weights at the moment. So when this had a petrol engine in the back and a full tank of fuel, it weighed 1,670 kilos. And from episode 2 of this build, we thought we were going to put a 52 kilowatt hour battery pack in, and when we did all the calculations, it was actually going to end up lighter than when it was petrol. So we thought, what's the point of that? Let's put a bigger battery pack in, get more range. So we've actually gone for a 63 kilowatt hour battery pack now. So we've increased the battery capacity by 11 kilowatt hours. And off the recalculation, we thought it was going to be around about 50 kilos heavier than that when it was petrol, but better weight distribution. So originally it was 1,670 kilos, add 50 kilos on. So I estimated it was going to be 1,720 kilos now, but it's not. It's actually lighter. It's 1,712 kilos. So that is 40 kilos heavier than when it was petrol. But weight distribution wise, I need to do some maths, because we were aiming, so originally the weight distribution of this was 40% to 60% weight distribution, and we were aiming to get it around about 43 to 57 from memory. 50-50 is a myth. Anybody who thinks, 50-50 weight distribution on a car is optimal, it's very twitchy, a 50-50 car. So 47 to 53 is better. And that's what we were aiming at with the weight distribution here. So, quick calculation. Cut to some hold music, Tim. I'm pretty much spot on. So that's 47.4% on the front, and the rest is on the rear. So that's about as good as I can probably get it. So I'm really excited now to see how it handles. But while you're here at this angle, I want to talk about another thing. Now, one of the side effects of improving the weight distribution of this car and putting a bit more weight up front and taking a bit of weight off the back is, well, you can see, it's gone down at the front and it's gone up at the back. So if we're going to get this car tuned optimally for handling, we need to change the suspension setup or tune it. So join us next time. Make sure you're subscribed on this channel and join us on the next episode, because we're going to take it to a suspension dyno shop where they're going to do some custom shocks and springs for all four corners to not only set the ride height back to where it should be, but get it optimally set up as well. Now, we came across a problem when building this car that I'm sure all Testarossa owners are already fully aware of, and that is there's hardly any tyre options for the rear of a Testarossa, and what tyre options there are kind of compromised. So this is the original wheel and tyre off the rear, and I'm pretty sure originally these came with 285 wide tyres, but they're just simply not available anymore in 16-inch diameter wheels. And you can see that what the compromise is. If I turn it around there, you can see that these are 255 tyres, and they look as if they're even stretched to get them on. So I thought I didn't like that for a start, and equally 255 tyres, we've got no hope in hell of getting the power down from a 600 horsepower Tesla motor. So, solution, we went with some 18-inch, still the same width, 10-inch wide, but 18-inch diameter wheels look exactly the same, which gave us some better options for tyres. Now we've got 285 by 35 Michelin Super Sports, so they Pilot Super Sports on there, which should be a lot more sticky. And if you go to the back, Tim, you can get a better shot of how much more grip we've now got. So from this angle, it gives you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So here's the original tyres. So the contact patch will be from there to about there. And on the new ones, look how much more we've got to play with. So that will be putting the 600 horsepower down to the ground, hopefully. But will it move properly? We've seen it move onto the ramps. Let's see if it actually goes further. So I'm going to put some trainers on and take off my work boots and see if it moves. Now it's moved around the workshop a few feet, but that's about all. And we've had it on the ramps and we've confirmed that it goes forward and it goes backwards, but we've never moved it proper until now, hopefully. So fingers crossed, this is going to be the first time it moves more than a few feet. So Tim, are you ready?
I'm ready. You can do a burnout.
Am I going to do a burnout? Seriously, you're tempting me to do a burnout? No, is the answer to that. Let me get it rolling first and then we'll go from there, mate. It lives! This is my happy day. This is my happy face, people. I don't know if you noticed, but before it moved, I had a little nervous face going, but now I'm a happy bunny again. But that's as far as I can take the car at the moment, because there's still quite some work to do. We've got some snagging, we need to get an MOT, etc. So up to the top of the drive there is about as far as we can go. But stay tuned, people, because Next episode is going to probably be at the chassis or suspension dyno, but after that, once it's tuned, it's full beans. We're going to give it some, probably on a track, and just see what this monster can do and unleash that 600 horsepower of Tesla oomph, if you like. But before we go, question to you guys, and the question is in here. What are we going to do with all this space that we've now created? Do we, A, leave it as is, showing the motor and the batteries and everything, or do we, B, put a boot in here and make it even more practical? Because you can actually put a decent sized boot in here now. Question to you, which way do we go on that? And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.